Welcome to this predicted paper from onmaths that is based on the advanced information given to us by the exam boards. Please use this paper in addition to your other revision. You can complete a unique version of this paper by going to our onmaths site. onmaths is full of free content to help you prepare for your exams, such as topic-based papers, demon questions and mini mocks. If you like what we do, please consider subscribing. So we need to first of all understand what a cube number is. So a cube number is the answer to when you get three integers or whole numbers and we multiply them by themselves three times. So 1 times 1 times 1 is 1, 2 times 2 times 2 is 8, 3 times 3 times 3 is 27, 4 times 4 times 4 is 64, and 5 times 5 times 5 is 125. So 1, 8, 27, 64, 125 are all cube numbers, and it goes on forever. And this question's asked us to find all the odd, or an odd, cube number that is smaller than 100. So it has to be odd, so that gets rid of the 8 and the 64. And it has to be smaller than 100, so that gets rid of the 125. So I can either write down 1 would be a fine answer, or 27. I'm going to go for 1. So for shop A, they're selling the rulers in lots of 3. And so we just need to get our 60 and divide it by 3 to figure out how many lots of 3 we have. So we've got 20. So if one bundle of rulers costs £1.50, then 20 times £1.50 would be £30. So in total it would cost £30 at shop A. We're going to do the same for shop B. Their bundles are 5 rulers, so we're going to do 60 divided by 5, which is 12. So we're going to buy 12 bundles at £2 each, and that will be £24. So the cheapest price is at shop B at £24. So we're going to start off by working out what 100% of 120 is. Well, that's obviously just going to be 120. And we're trying to get to 6%. So we always start off by working out 10%. It's always normally useful. And we just divide that 120 by 10, so we get 12. And we try to get 6%, so it'd be nice if I knew 5%. And 5% is nice and easy because we just halve that 10%. So that'd be 6. And if we got the 1% as well, we can get to the 6%. So to find out what 1% is, we just divide the 10% by 10 and get 1.2. So to get the 6%, we're going to add the 5% and the 1%. So we're going to add the 6 and the 1.2. And so we just do 6 plus 1.2, which is just going to be 7.2. And that's our answer. If we write in how many sides each shape has, triangle has 3, quadrilateral 4, pentagon 5, hexagon 6, you'll notice the number of vertices is twice the amount of each of them. So if a shape has 15 sides, we just times that by 2 and it will have 30 vertices. Whenever we multiply two negatives, we always get a positive, so we know our answer will be positive. We're going to do 9 times 12, which is going to be 108. And v times v, which is going to be v squared. The easiest way to compare fractions, decimals and percentages is to convert them all into decimals. So I'm just going to convert this percentage to a decimal, and to do that you just divide by 100. And I'm going to convert this fraction by timesing top and bottom by 10, and we know that 4/10 is 0.4. Then I'm just going to put all of these numbers in a place value grid, place value table, and we've got units, we've got tenths, we've got hundredths. Shouldn't need any more than that. So we've got 0.4, 0.43 and 0.27. Now what we do is we start on the left hand side and we find the smallest because we're looking for it in ascending order. And the smallest tenth is the 2 there, so it's 0.27. So this is our smallest number, 0.27. Now the next two are equal, So we look at the hundredths, and this technically has a 0 there, so 0 is the next smallest. Now 0.40 was 2/5, so make sure you have the original fraction in and not 0.4. And then the largest one is the 0.43, which was 43%. A plan is a view that you would get if you were on top of the shape. So you were in an airplane or something looking down on the shape. So the sides of this that we'll see, well, we'd see this bit here, and we would see this bit here. So I'm going to start off with the first bit I shaded, and we've got to figure out what the different lengths will be. Well, this would be 2 centimeters across, and the whole thing is 8 centimeters. The bit we don't want is 3 centimeters, so this part here will be 5. It would look like it was 5 wide. So let's draw that on, and so we've got 2 centimeters down, and we've got 5 across. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this is what it would look like from above. Now the other part will be same 2 centimeters, but it will be 3 centimeters across. So we have 3 centimeters across. Now whenever you have a join or a change in elevation, you need to show that with a line across, and so this will be our completed answer. So a stem leaf diagram is just a way of showing raw data. This 1 here could either mean 10 or it could mean 1. In this case we're using it to represent a 1, because if you look at the data they're all either 1 point something, 2 point something, 3 point something, or 4 point something. So looking at the 1 point somethings, we've got a 1.1 there, and we've got a 1.4. Looking at the 2 points, we've got a 2.1, 2.3, 2.4, and 2.8. Looking at the 3s, we've got 3.8, and looking at 4s, we've got 4.2, 4.4, and 4.7. And so in our key here, we're just going to pick this number here. It doesn't actually matter which number we pick. And we say 1 line 1 means 1.1 centimeters. Let's rewrite this expression, but with a time sign in. So v times w squared. Now w squared just means times by itself. So we can rewrite that as v times w times w. Okay, so we know v is minus 10. So minus 10. And we know w is minus 4. So it's times minus 4 times minus 4. Okay, so when you multiply, it doesn't matter which order we do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do these ones first, and I'm going to ignore that times minus 4 at the end. So minus 10 times minus 4, that's a minus times a minus, which is a positive, 10 times 4, which is 40, times minus 4. Now we're going to do 40 times minus 4, so it's a positive times a negative, so that's going to be a negative. And 40 times 4, well, 4 times 4 is 16, so 40 times 4 is 160. So it's going to be minus 160. So we start off by working out what 100% of 240 is. Well, that's obviously going to be 240. And a nice easy one to start off with is 10%. And we're trying to get to 21%, so 10% is always a good one to start with. So we divide by 10, which would be 24. And because we're trying to get to 21%, we'll need to find out what 1% is. And 1%, we just divide the 10% by 10 again, so it would be 2.4. And then we need to find out what 20% is. And 20%, we just double the 10%, so it would be 48. And so 21% is this plus this, because 1 plus 20 is 21. So we add these together, so 2.4 plus 48. Probably don't need to do this formally. Probably do this in our heads. So 50.4, but it says to increase it increase 240 by that amount. So we need to get 240, and we need to add the 50.4. Probably, again, don't need to show the working out for this. We can do this in our heads, but it's a bit easier to see what we're doing. So the answer would be 290.4. There's an awful lot going on in this question. Whenever there's an awful lot going on, it's always best to draw a diagram. So we're going to start off at Chelton, which is a C. Then we go to Bolko, that's where we're going. And we go through Devley on the way. So we'll do D there. Distance from Chelton to Devley is 34 miles. Distance from Devley to Bovlow is 16 miles. So I'm just reading through the question, adding it to my diagram. David leaves Chelton at 9 o'clock. He drives from Chelton to Devley an average speed of 68 miles per hour. And what speed does David travel between Devley and Bolko to arrive at 9:45? So the whole duration of this, the whole thing needs to be 45 minutes or 0.75 hours. And the entire distance is 34 plus 16, so that would be 50 miles. Okay, now having a look at this, we need to find out what time David was at Devley. So we're going to use our speed, distance, time triangle. So speed equals distance over time. And we're covering up the time, because that's the one we want. So it's going to be time equals distance, which is 34, over speed, which is 68. So we're going to do 34 divided by 68, which is 0.5. So it would be 0.5 hours. So that would be half an hour. So we will be at Devley at 9:30. So that means we've got 15 minutes left. Okay, so we've got 15 minutes to travel the 16 miles. So this time we're looking for the speed. Okay, so it would be speed equals the distance, which is 16 miles, over time, which is 15 minutes, but we need that in hours, so that would be 0.25 hours. And so what we can do here is times top 1 by 4 to get rid of the fraction. So it becomes 64 over 1, or just 64 miles per hour. So our answer is 64 miles per hour. The important thing to realise in this question is that we know a female has been selected. So we can just basically get rid of all of this part of the frequency tree, because it's not relevant, because we know a female has been selected. So there's 29 females altogether, and we're looking for the probability that the female chosen at random picked action. So it's just simply 16 over 29. So in this question we basically need to add the 2 3/4 and the 2 2/5. So we're going to do 2 3/4 plus 2 2/5. Now if I just rewrite this, 2 3/4 can be written as 2 plus 3/4 plus 2 plus 2 1/5, or 2/5. So we can add the 2 2's together to make 4, and then all we need to do is add the 3/4 and the 2/5. So when you add two numbers with different denominators, what we need to do is get the common denominators, and we do that by just quickly writing out the 4 and the 5 times table and seeing what the first number in both their times tables is. 16, 20, and 5, 10, 15, 20. So that's 20. So we need to get the bottoms of the fractions to 20. Now for 3/4, to get the bottom to equal 20, we need to times the 4 by 5. And whatever you do to the bottom, you've got to do to the top, so times that by 5 as well, which will be 15. And for 2/5, we'll get that bottom to 20, so we times that by 4, and so we've got times the top by 4 as well, to make it 8. So it's going to be 15 over 20 plus 8 over 20. So we need to add the numerators. So it would be 15 plus 8, which is going to be 23 over 20. Now that is a top-heavy fraction, so we can rewrite that as 1 and 3/20. And we can add the 4 and the 1 together to make 5 and 3/20. So the answer is 5 and 3/20. So when we say y is directly proportional to x, what we mean is whenever x doubles, y will double. Whenever x halves, y will halve. Now we've got this proportionality sign here, and to make that an equals, all we need to do is introduce a k constant to the right hand side. So it's y equals something times x. Now to find out what that something is, to find out what that constant is, what we're going to do is feed in the value of y and the value of x that we have. So we're going to feed those in. So y is 55.3 and x is 7. So it would be 7k. And we're just going to put our lines in and solve this. So it's going to be divide by 7 both sides. And 55.3 divided by 7 is 7.9. And that's what k is. So we're going to rewrite this equation here, this formula here, y equals 7.9x, and that is actually our answer. So let's write these numbers out, and the first thing to do is work out what the numbers are going up by. So they're going up by -3, because they're minusing 3 each time. So we know that the number before the n is going to be -3. So whatever they go up in is the number before the n. Then what we do is we go backwards to find the 0th term. So actually going backwards, we would add 3 and we would find it to be 20. So whatever numbers our 0th term, because 17 is our first term, is going to be what we add to the -3n. So it's going to be add 20. So our answer is -3n plus 20. We can keep this as an interior angle, but it's actually sometimes easier to convert it to an exterior angle. And what you might know is that the sum of interior and exterior angles is going to be 180, because they will always form a straight line. So to find the exterior angle, all we need to do is 180 take away the 170. And that means it will be 10 degrees. So we've already done a different formula for exterior angle, which is 360 divided by n. And something we can do is we can just swap these two things around. And so we can make the formula that n equals 360 divided by the exterior angle. So 360 divided by the exterior angle, well, we know that the exterior angle is 10, therefore n is 360 divided by 10, which would be 36. So we're told the length of this rectangle is u, and the width is u plus 2, doesn't matter which way around we do it, and we're told the area is 80. So we can actually write an equation from this. So u times u plus 2, so that's the length times the width, is equal to the area, which is 80. So let's expand this, and what we're going to do is we're going to put everything to the same side. So all I'm going to do here is subtract 80 from both sides, and so we've got u squared plus 2u minus 80 equals 0. Now we're going to be using quadratics, so we're going to factorize this, and so we need two numbers that add together to make 2 and times together to make minus 80. So I'm going to put my brackets out. So we're going to have u at the start of the brackets, and let's have a think. So it's going to be 8 and 10. And one of them will be positive, one of them will be negative. Well, to add them together to make 2, the 10 will have to be positive, and then the 8 would have to be negative. And then minus 8 times 10 is minus 80. Okay, last thing is we get each of our equations equal to, sorry, each of our brackets equal to 0. So we can solve them. Let's just do this in normal colour. So u minus 8 equals 0. And let's solve that. And so we're going to add 8 both sides, and we've got u equals 8. And we're going to do the same for this right hand bracket, so u plus 10 equals 0. Get our lines in, and take away 10 both sides, so u equals minus 10. Now it might get confusing because it says find the value of u, but a length needs to be positive. So this minus 10 is not the correct answer. Our correct answer will be 8. And we can actually check this, because if I fill in the value of 8, so we can have 8 at the top here, and 8 plus 2, which is 10. 8 times 10 is 80. So we know that we've got the right answer. When we multiply numbers, it doesn't actually matter which order we multiply them. So we can do 2 times 4 times 10 to the power of 8 times 10 to the power of 9. 2 times 4 is 8, and when we multiply two powers with the same base, we add the powers. That's going to be 10 to the power of 17. So our answer is 8 times 10 to the power of 17. What I'm going to start off by doing is rearranging this equation so that it kind of matches this one. So I'm just going to write it down. And we want the n to be minus 2. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put my rearranging lines in. And we're just going to add 10 to both sides. Now, we've already got this line drawn for us on this graph. And so all we need to do is draw this line. So we've got y equals 10x squared plus 8x minus 2 drawn for us. We just need to draw this line, which is y equals 10, and see where they cross over to find the solutions. So y equals 10 will be all the way up at the top. Let's just make sure I get it nice. There we are. I need to move that up a little bit. There we are. And let's read off the values that that gives us. So it comes down here, and it comes down here. So the values it comes down to are minus 1.6 and 0.8. And those are our solutions. So we're going to first of all realise that this is a right angle triangle, and we've got two lengths and an angle involved, therefore it's going to be trigonometry. So we're going to just label the sides first. The one opposite the right angle is the hypotenuse, opposite the marked angle is the opposite, and the one between the right angle and the marked angle is the adjacent. Now the adjacent doesn't have a number or a letter next to it, so it's not interesting, so get rid of that. Next we're going to do our trigonometry triangles. And so we've got SO, Ka, Toa, and we are just crossed out the adjacent, so we don't need this one and we don't need this one, and we're going to end up with SO, which is short for sine the angle equals opposite over hypotenuse. The angle is marked as x, so sine x equals root 3 over 2. You need to know from memory that sine 60 is root 3 over 2. And notice here that The x therefore is going to equal 60. You can complete a unique version of this paper by going to our onmaths site. onmaths is full of free content to help you prepare for your exams, such as topic-based papers, demon questions and mini mocks. If you like what we do, please consider subscribing.